Shalom Akim Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rakakadash. Double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of greatness doing rule well and the Akim throughout the four corners of the earth, preaching the gospel of Hamashiach Yahweh Shai in sincerity and truth. This Brahman Nash DC camp with another lesson, prophecy to edify the hopeful elect. Yeah, so you already see the transition of rulership that the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai is setting in motion. Right, so expect more chaos, to take place, man. Expect more chaos, expect more cruelty to take place because it's necessary that it happens. All right, so a lot of people are upset, they're nervous because they don't want all hell to break loose, but it has to break loose. All right, that's the reason why the Lord Yahweh Shai is coming to deliver his people, all right, children of Israel, the so-called Negroes, the so-called Latinos, and the so-called Native Americans throughout the four corners of the earth. All right, so I'm going to read this precept real quick from the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6, verse 7. So it says, Then answered I and said, What shall be the pattern asunder of the times? Of when shall the end of the first and the beginning of either follow it? Alright, so that's a genuine question that Ezra was asking the angel. And it's a beautiful thing that we're seeing this prophecy take place because Esau knows that his rulership is coming to an abrupt end because the Lord Yahweh Shai is on his way and is setting up his government, alright, the government of the nation of Israel, alright, of the elect. He's building. And that's the reason why there's so much adversity on the face of the earth, right? Because the rulership of Esau is dwindling, his power structure is crumbling, even his own people and the heathens are against him, all right? And now that the men of the Lord are waking up, Esau's upset about it. You see the signs of the times, all right? See how brothers having visions of what's to come. All right. And then you look at verse 8. It says, And he said unto me, From Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. And that's the real contention, right? The children of Israel and the children of Edom, they're going against it. And that's the issue that's really going on in Nigeria. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, they're pissed off with their so-called puppet government that are working on behalf of the Edomites in Britain, all right, working on behalf of the beast. And they're upset that the system that Esau has put in place is not working for them, so they wanna make over. They want reforms. First they started saying police brutality. Because they have the so-called special anti-robbery squad, which they used to call SARS, and that they don't want that no more because the unit has gone rogue and turned into a force for extortion. In fact, the whole Nigeria police system has become a force for extortion. Right, even with the so-called judicial process, political process, even the educational system is in shambles, and that's the reason why the people are pissed off. And now that the young folks want to take charge of the situation, the old heads that are in bed with these Edomites are basically scheming to massacre, the youths. All right, they're going along with the hoodlums and the gangs, to disrupt protests and set police facilities ablaze. So it's just, how Esau is. He has to come up with something. But it's all part of prophecy because Esau knows he has a short time, so he's in a rush, all right, to do anything desperate to make sure he prolongs his time in rulership. But it's not going to happen, all right? So you're going to see what's going on by the so-called government in Nigeria not being able to do what they can do, according to their, their playbook. that's affecting Esau. And Esau knows that, all these so-called colonies he's got in West Africa, don't you say Africa, in the Caribbean, in South America, and parts of the Middle East and Southeast Asia. That's their cash cow, you know. So you can imagine when the youths of those nations and provinces say they want a total a total change in the way the government structure is. That means Esau's power structure is being threatened, so he has to come up with schemes, and that's what it boils down to: is that struggle. The people are not pleased with the way Esau's ruling, and they're also not pleased with the way they've been treated by their own people. All right. So the Lord Shema Shaba Shema Kakadash is going to stir the pot, and these elites are going to be running scared. It's only a matter of time when these Edomites are going to start hunting down their own so-called elected officials, man. So whether it's going to be a false flag or not, it still doesn't change anything, because the scripture already talked about the so-called elected officials going to run into bunkers, all right, so they could hide from the terrors that's coming upon the face of the earth, all right. So verse 9 says, "For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." All right. So when you see all these uproars of the people around the world, that means that it's time. It's time. It's been time for a long time ago that the Lord wake up His own people, and that to let these Edomites know that their time of descent, their time of let me say, being pulled out of power is at hand. So I'm just gonna pull up this quick video. It's from Al Jazeera. It's just a quick summary of what's going on.
Security forces opened fire at crowds in Lagos. There are reports several people have been killed. Amnesty International says it happened as they tried to disperse demonstrators.
And one thing you also have to understand is that all the funds that these so-called, government officials that rule over Jake, all that money that they loot, they always like to keep it in all these Western banks that Esau owns. So Esau is always going to be benefiting from looted capital, and then you wonder why certain, African countries, whether it's in South America or that's in the Caribbean, they can't get out of debt because they party to it, They're party to the oppression, and they also the instigators, that visit the oppression upon the people. So whenever somebody gets up and want to change the system, whether it's politically or whether it's through other means for the good of the people, they end up shutting it down. And that's exactly what you're going to see, across the whole world, because Esau knows that the New World Order is his last attempt, to put this in perspective for him to be in rulership forever. But he's going to fail.
Ahmed Idris reports.
Just hours after a curfew came into effect, the security forces started moving in. At the Lekki toll gate in Lagos, several different witnesses recorded footage of what appeared to be security personnel shooting at protesters who were blocking a major highway. A number of people were reported killed. It began as peaceful protests to demand an end to police brutality. And for 2 weeks, the government struggled but failed to calm protesters. Their demands, among others, include far-reaching reforms of the police and the prosecution of officers accused of extrajudicial killings, torture, and disappearances.
And that's what's going to come to America very soon. It's happened before, but it's going to happen on a wide scale, because you know how it is, man. The so-called politicians here in America, they always like to have it comfortable. And, they've already betrayed the people. And it's only a matter of time that all hell breaks loose, and then they're going to be in hiding. Because that's the vibration that's going to be upon the whole face of the earth very soon. politicians running and hiding for their lives with their families. So I mean, don't be surprised, man. Don't be surprised when you hear on the news that certain politicians have been kidnapped. Your so-called councilman, your so-called mayor, even the governors and senators, they're gonna be on the run because they know exactly what they've done, and it's gonna be hilarious, man. You're just gonna sit back and laugh, because just imagine folks looking for police. I mean, for the police to do something, and the police can't do shit because he's a part of the situation to let corruption continues. So folks are gonna take matters into their own hand. That when all hell breaks loose, then you're gonna start seeing all these officers start jumping ship. All right. So it's just the beginning. It's just an appetizer. It has to start from outside, and then it's gonna spread. So another precept is gonna be from the book of Second Ezra, chapter 9, verses 1. It says, "He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs," all right, said part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the heights will begin to visit the world which he made. And that's exactly what you see going on in Nigeria. So just imagine when it's Haiti's times, man. When it's Trinidad and Tobago's time. When it's Mexico's time. When it's Venezuela's time. When it's time of Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico has this little stint here and there. When it's Colombia's time. It's gonna be wherever Jake is, man. It's gonna be uproars. It's gonna turn ugly. And then you see the video online of the so-called cartels with their armors, armored vehicles and all their weaponries. That's just a tip of the iceberg, because you don't know how much these so-called cartels have have in store, all their so-called bunkers and all their tunnels. So it's gonna get ugly, man. You already see how they smoke police officers over there in Mexico. So it's gonna be terrible. So I'm just play a portion of this discourse.
What is going through? Since we have been protesting, we have not heard any reasonable result. So we want out Buhari to come and address us. If not possible in Aso Rock, he should come down to Lagos and address the citizens. That's what we can do. We have been trying, we have been crying every day so that they can hear our voice, but they don't want to listen to us. But I believe this what we are doing, we are going to hear good things.
And senior lawmakers are lining up behind some of the protesters' demands.
I will not sign off on a 2021 budget that does not include adequate provisions to compensate those who have suffered violence and brutality at the hands of the police in Nigeria in the last decade.
Well, in the last decade. Well, I mean, I could tell as a Levite, I used to live in Nigeria. I can't deny that because I'm Yoruba. All right. Even I still got a scar from a police officer. Still got a scar for over 20 something years. I still have that scar on my arm. So, it's nothing new, man. Police brutality is everywhere in the world. But you know how it is, man. The Most High let you go through certain things to keep you in remembrance. That you could protest all you want, you could do GoFundMe all you want, but only the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai, can deliver Jake out of the hand of the oppressors, all right? Because it's the Lord that gave Jake up to be oppressed by Esau. And when the time for our people to be delivered, it's the Lord that will do it, all right? So it says in verse 3, 2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 3, "Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning." All right. So it's all part of the process. There has to be travesty and chaos and murders and lynchings and genocide to take place before the Lord Yahweh Shai arrives to deliver his people from the four corners of the earth. The scripture already talked about, through much tribulation shall we enter into the kingdom. Alright? So just imagine, man, when you've been through all that turmoil and stress and loss of family members, loss of life and property of your neighbors and all that, and then you get delivered, you'll be so relieved. And that's a time that we're looking forward to be relieved of our sorrows, to be relieved of our oppressors, because they've been nothing but a burden to us, So it's a beautiful thing, man, to understand how the Lord operates, to know that you have to suffer patiently, because this is the wrath of the Lord that's coming upon our people. You know how it is. The Lord is not slack concerning all the humiliation and all the atrocities you have to endure. All right. So I'm going to get another precept from the book of Job chapter 20. All right. Job chapter 20, verse 20. And it reads, all right. So it says, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. All right. So these Edomite elites, they are not going to be able to enjoy their rulership anymore, any longer, because the Lord is opening the floodgates of all these people on the face of the earth, especially Israelites, to complain and to yell and to go against the system. Because when you see these young folks, they don't care about losing their lives anymore, man, because they already consider themselves dead, and they have to fight to whatever breath they do have. All right, so they already know that Esau is the one that's propping up the so-called corrupt government over there. And just imagine, man, when when the government start to show cracks, what will Esau do? Esau will have to do something something terrifying, and that's exactly what you see. So the so-called oppressive government in Nigeria has to get the green light, to do certain things, and that's exactly what you're going to see on social media. All right. So Job chapter 20 verse 20 says, surely he shall not feel quietness in his belly. He shall not save of that which he desired. So whatever plan Esau has put in place, it's not going to go as planned. And then you hear about UK's situation for the Brexit. It's it's one of those tricks they try to play, and as you already know, man. Once they did the Brexit, now they just went along with the plan to introduce the corona, situation. So it's all one agenda for them to press the reset button. And now the so-called provinces that they consider as cash cows are experiencing a turmoil, so they have to hurry up and do what they got to do. All right. Then verse 21 says, there shall none of his meat be left, therefore shall no man look for his goods. So Esau's gonna lose, he's gonna lose terribly, because the Lord Yahweh Shai Kakadash is gonna separate Esau from his wealth. So verse 22 says, in the fullness of his sufficiency he shall be in straits. All right, he's gonna be in a tough predicament that he cannot wiggle himself out of. Every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. And when you look at the word for wicked in that Job chapter 20 verse 22, the word there is Aimal. Aimal. It says laborer, sufferer, wretched one, laborer, workman, sufferer, toiling. All right. That's exactly what Jake and all these so-called provinces, these colonized parcels of land that they like to call Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa. Those are where the laborers live, where the oppressed live, So they're going to revolt against Esau. You already saw a quick glimpse of what was taking place in Zimbabwe, how they were going after those Edomite farmers, and just imagine, what the Lord Yahweh Shai has in store for these Edomites. Okay. Verse 23 says, when he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. So the time of Esau's destruction is coming, and he's upset. And then, see the reason why, Esau's always taking down brothers' videos and taking down their channels and giving them strikes, and putting forward shadow bans and all that stuff. So you shouldn't be surprised, man, that a grown man is upset that he's losing power. He's losing control over the minds of the people, okay? So it's a beautiful thing. So I got another precept to bring out. It's going to be from the book of Isaiah chapter 28. Isaiah chapter 28, verse 20. And it reads, for the bed is shorter that a man, alright, Isaiah chapter 28 verse 20, for the bed is shorter than that a man can stretch himself on it, and the covering narrower than that he can wrap himself in it. So Esau's going to be put in a tight spot, man, that whatever he does is not going to be able to achieve the results, because the Lord Yahweh Shai has already forced him into a corner. So he's going to lash out, just like the Lord Yahweh Shai is frustrating the plans of these elites. You're going to see how how the miracles of the Lord is going to, come down upon the elect of Lord Hamashiach Yahushai. Right, and then brothers are gonna be receiving spiritual powers, powers of healing, powers to to protect themselves and their family members, because the Lord has already said that the elect shall never be lost, to the antics of Esau. So just imagine, man, when Esau's put in that tight spot, he cannot do what he used to do before, and he's losing ground day after day, minute after minute. He's going to come out violently. That's why the Lord Yahushua says the devil's going to come down with great violence, knowing that he has a short time. So it's beautiful, man. You just have to accept how the Lord is going to tear down Esau's power structure. And that folks always like to say, oh man, you guys hate America, or you guys are racist. You guys are not, the Lord. But hey, when the Lord is destroying the enemy before you, what are you going to say? So you just have to, support the cause, man. Support the cause of Yahweh Shai, because he's the one that's tearing down the enemy. It's not us by the power of our hands, by our thoughts. It's by the Lord. All right, because he's the one that set them in power. So he has to take their power away from them. So that's the reason why, they're upset. They've gotten addicted. They've gotten used to their way of rulership, the way of oppression, that way of living above their means, living on the necks of the people. So Isaiah chapter 51 verse 14, it says, the captive exile hastened that he may be loosed, and that he should not die in the pit, nor that his breath should fail. And that's exactly what the men of the Lord, are focused on. That you don't want to go down with Babylon. You don't want to die in a terrible state. That you have to keep hope in the Lord, and that you're going to be taken care of. That's all we're concerned about, man. You don't want to be judged with the wicked. You want to be separated for righteousness' sake. All right. Verse 15, but I am the Lord, Yahweh, thy power, that divided the sea, whose waves roared. The Lord of hosts is his name. And I have put my words in thy mouth, and I have covered thee in the shadow of mine hand, that I may plant the heavens, and lay the foundations of the earth, and say unto Zion, thou art my people. All right. So these so-called pastors in Nigeria are not really giving the people the words of the Lord that they really, really need. Because they're all talking politics, man. They're not really talking the way the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai has ordained his elect to preach. So what you're going to see is going to have more people in the churches going to start turning the churches upside down, because they're going to realize these so-called false prophets, they're going to be put on blast too. All right, verse 17 now says, "Awake, awake, stand up, O Jerusalem, which has drunk at the hand of the Lord the cup of his fury." All right, and that's exactly what is going on over there, man. The Lord is making sure that cup of his fury is being experienced in Nigeria. So you're going to see how the Lord is going to tear Nigeria apart. It's going to start tearing up all the so-called colonies that Esau used to make, his riches from. So just imagine, when Esau's trying to, consolidate his power, and the Lord keeps stirring up the people to go against Esau's representatives on the ground, the so-called corrupt politicians. It's going to be hilarious, man, when you see how how they're going to be running for their lives, all right? So Isaiah 51 verse 17 says, "Awake, awake, stand up, O Jerusalem, which has drunk at the hand of the Lord the cup of his fury. Thou hast drunken the dregs of the cup of trembling and wrong amounts." All right. So our people, man, they can't escape. Only through the mercies of Hamashiach Yahushua are they going to escape all the turmoil that's coming upon the face of the earth. All right. So you go on YouTube, you watch all these videos of all these protests in Nigeria. They don't really know what is going on, man. They don't really know that it's a transition. It's a transition of rulership.
Means the country's 2021 budget could be delayed. On Monday, protesters blockaded Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, Nigeria's busiest. The same day, these images appeared of prisoners, among them violent criminals escaping when two prisons in Edo State were attacked.
So, expect that to happen in America too, man. All these provinces, man. Where Esau has maximum security prisons, where they have all these local jails and whatever they want to call them. Those prisoners are going to get out, man, one way or another. So it's going to be crazy upon the face of the earth, because it's a transition. That's what it is, man. It's a transition. Just like, you read the scripture talking about the woman that's pregnant with a child, and the child is about to be born. She's going to start feeling those pangs and all that pains and everything, when she's about to go into labor. That's exactly what's going on. Difficult times, times of bitterness. All right. So don't be overly alarmed that this chaos is gonna, keep getting hotter and hotter and hotter. All right. So just like you have the government supporting different protest factions like Black Lives Matter over here. The so-called Nigerian government are going to be supporting those gangs, to disrupt the protest and to destroy property and take lives where they can, where they can. All right. So another precept is going to be from the book of Sirach, chapter 10, verse 8. It says, "Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another." And that's what it boils down to. All right. The Lord has already seen what the righteous dealings, the injuries, and the riches got by deceit. So what's he going to do? So he's going to cause the kingdom, the rulership to be transferred, from the Edomite to the Israelite, because it's time for rest upon the face of the earth. The time of peace is coming. So the Lord has to shake down the corridors of evil, the corridors of wickedness, the corridors of unrighteousness. All right. So the Lord is going to come against the wicked of the earth. So that's what you see. Folks are willing to put their lives on the line on a kind of level, to protest. But the men of the Lord understand what is really going on. That's the reason why we offer a spiritual sacrifice, by going out there on the highways and byways and let the people know that the world is about to go through a phase, of transition. That a lot of things are going to be revealed in these last days. And the power structure of the earth, of these so-called bankers that own the World Bank and the IMF, and the Bank of International Settlements that own Wall Street, the folks behind all these government entities on the earth, also known as corporations. Their time is coming to an end. All right. So I read it one more time, Book of Sirach, chapter 10, verse 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. And that's what's going on. All right.
The prison authorities say nearly 2,000 prisoners have escaped. More worrying is the looting of the armory in the correction facility. Here in Abuja, nearly 24 cars were destroyed.
Already states have started enforcing 24-hour curfews. Among them, the financial capital Lagos, which is also home to the country's busiest ports.
All right, so just imagine when they start interrupting commerce, interrupting trade, then Esau is going to be upset. Moab's going to be upset, but Moab knows that, they got to do something, all right, because Moab don't want no disturbances right now, so it's willing to take a step back, but Esau don't care, man. Esau wants everything to be done right now, so, but nonetheless, it's all the same, man, Moab and Esau, they want to take advantage of Jake in Nigeria. So, book of Genesis, chapter 25, you read from verse 20 to 23, tells you, gives you a summary of the whole situation. So, verse 20, right, Genesis chapter 25, verse 20, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padan Aram, the sister to Laban the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord Yahweh for his wife, because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her, and she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. So that tension between Jacob and Esau, Esau and Edom, was like Israel and Edom. All right, it's gonna go to the next level, man. That's exactly what you see. This is just a symptom of what's going on, the struggle between Jacob and Esau. All right, so the sellouts are on the pressure, the pressure from above and pressure from below. All right, because Jacob don't want to be part of Esau's system. They want to form their own destiny, but it's not looking good, So Esau has to find a way to shut it down. All right. And verse 23 says, And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manners of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. And that's exactly what's going on right now. All right. Esau doesn't want to give up his power, and Jacob wants power. All right. So I just gotta, keep my eyes on the situation over there, because it's just chaos, man. Chaos. So on the east side, you got Benjamin, and then on the west side you got Levi and Judah, and then you have Benjamin in there too. So just imagine, man, the southern kingdom, the southern kingdom, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, going against Esau's power structure. You know what that means? The northern kingdom is going to experience theirs too. All right. So I just say, Kahalami Allah, Yahweh, Bashim, Yashab, Bashim, Kakadash, the honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of great mystery and rule, where unto the archangel trial the four corners of the earth. Yeah, so you're going to be experiencing, this transition. You're going to be seeing how the Lord is taking down Esau's system. All right. So don't be surprised. The signs are all around us. All right. Shalom.